My stepfather said adopting me would ruin his reputation. 2 days later, his father ruined his life. My stepfather always said he didn't see color. He said it at dinner parties, at work events, at Oakwood Country Club. Family is family. They loved him for it. The white man who stepped up, who raised another man's black son. For 12 years, Douglas played dad perfectly. He built his reputation on me, and I believed him. When my mom got sick, he played the part even harder. 3 months from diagnosis to funeral. He said, "You're my son," he whispered, crying into my shoulder. The adoption papers had been sitting in his desk drawer for years. Mom had begged him to make it official. He always said timing wasn't right. After she passed, I found a lawyer willing to handle everything. I was 22, finishing school, thinking about the future. I brought the folder to dinner. I slid the papers across the table. "We can file next week," I said. "It'll make inheritance and medical stuff easier. Just formalizing what we already are." Didn't touch the folder. Then he laughed. "You actually thought," he said, "that I'd legally put my name on papers claiming a black man as my son." The word black hit differently. He'd never said it like that before. "What are you talking about?" I asked. He replied, "I maintained an image while your mother was alive. The firm loved it. Oakwood loved it." He shrugged. "But adoption, that's permanent. So 12 years was just marketing. I gave you a house. I paid for school. That's more than most would have done. Be grateful. But I'm not tying my legacy to something that damages my standing." 2 days later, I packed my things. I never told him about the call I'd received that morning. His father, Harold, had called me himself. Douglas claimed Harold hadn't been lucid in years, said dementia had taken him. But when I answered the phone, the voice was steady. "Jamal," Harold said, "come see me, bring a lawyer." I almost didn't go, but something in his tone told me this mattered. When I walked into Golden Acres Assisted Living, I expected confusion. Instead, I found a man sitting upright in bed, glasses on, reading financial documents. 2 nurses stood nearby. His attorney was already there. "I've been pretending," Harold said calmly, "for 3 years." "Pretending?" I asked. I wanted to see who my son really was when he thought I wasn't watching. Harold had been sharper than anyone knew. He'd overheard Douglas at family dinners, heard the charity case comments, heard him tell relatives I was a temporary obligation. He'd even installed a small recorder in his room after Douglas began managing his finances. "I know exactly who raised you," Harold said, "and it wasn't him." Then he handed me a thick envelope, a revised will. Douglas received nothing. Not the lake house, not the investment accounts, not the firm shares Harold still quietly controlled. "Family isn't about blood," Harold said softly. "It's about character." The documents were airtight, signed, witnessed, filed. Douglas didn't find out until the next morning. He was standing, clear-eyed, alert. Security stood nearby. For the first time in years, Douglas saw his father fully present. "You're not confused," Douglas said, voice shaking. "No," Harold replied. "I never was." Douglas turned to me. "You manipulated him," Harold said. "No, son, you manipulated everyone. The firm, the club, your wife, that boy. Douglas is cracked. You're giving everything to him," he snapped. "He's not even blood." Harold's voice didn't rise. "And you are." Security escorted Douglas out. The next week, word spread through the firm. Douglas's promotion disappeared. Months later, I stood on the balcony of the lake house Harold had transferred into the trust. I used part of the inheritance to start a scholarship fund in my mom's name for kids who were temporary obligations in someone else's house. Harold moved in with me after leaving assisted living. We played chess every Sunday. One afternoon, he looked at me and said, "He'll come back, not because he loves you, because he needs you." He was right. Douglas showed up a year later. The firm had let him go. He stood on the porch of the house he expected to inherit. "I made mistakes," he said. "Did you?" I asked. "Or did you just miscalculate? Dad doesn't have long, does he?" There it was. Not regret. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. "You spent 12 years building an image," I said calmly. "I spent 12 years believing in a father." He opened his mouth to respond. I didn't let him. "You were right about one thing," I said. "Adoption is permanent, so is character." I handed him an envelope. Inside was a single document. Harold had legally adopted me 6 months earlier. His signature, mine, filed and recorded. Douglas's name wasn't on it. "You were worried about reputation," I said. He stared at the paper. I stepped back inside and locked the door. Some papers destroy reputations. Others rewrite them. And this one, it made me exactly what he was too afraid to be. Family.